Welcome to Build Stuff. BS features products and processes used in the crafting of custom motorcycles. BS also highlights builders' projects to share ideas and inspire others. Build Stuff episodes aren't scheduled, so don't forget to subscribe to Speed and Color, then turn on notifications so you don't miss any BS.
You know, I've been giving this foot clutch issue a lot of thought, and I think I want to go over this with all of you. I'm going to share my ideas with you. Please, if this is stuff that people have done before or thought of before, tell me if I have my head up my arse and I'm just going on about something. Or if this is new and innovative and you've got some ideas on it, or you want to ask some questions, let's open a dialogue about it and see what we can do to come up with the answers. So I want to run a foot clutch on the XS650. That's all good. Been done before, no problem. In talking with Brent at PFX, the little bobber that they built for that gentleman with a foot clutch, very cool. Nice job, great little bobber, all good. But Brent raised an issue that, in doing some Google research and stuff like that, I couldn't find that it was something that was really being addressed or a concern for a lot of guys, but I'm not sure why that is. And maybe with this foot clutch thing, maybe I'm just being a pussy. Maybe a foot clutch is be a man, suck it up, learn how to ride the thing, blah, blah, blah. But here's the concern that Brent expressed, and I get where he's coming from, and it's a bit of a concern for me too. So with a foot clutch and so the other condition is no front brake. Why do guys want to go without a front brake? Well, it's cleaner. It's cool to not have all that stuff up on the front wheel. I don't think it's really one of the main issues, but certainly lighter. There's a few things that happen there. I think with no front brake as well, you also have a very clean look on the bars, and whether you're running T-bars or whether you're running apes, whatever. With a foot clutch, there's no clutch lever, so that side is very clean. And with no front brake, no need for a brake lever, so very clean on that side. So you get that raw, clean, I don't know what else to call it, but yeah, really clean look on the handlebars. And Brent came up with an idea for that bobber that they built, and I'll let you go look at that episode about the bobber. What the heck is it titled? I think it's titled Foot Clutch Choppers Are Cool, something like that. Anyway, you'll find it. They came up with their solution. I'm not sure that's the solution I want for the XS650. So what I want for the XS, I want no front brake. I want clean bars with no levers, minimal switches and stuff. Just as clean and bare as I can get the bars. And I want to run a foot clutch and a jockey shift. Good enough. So now we get back to the issue that Brent had raised, and that is, if you have to use your left foot on a foot clutch and your right foot on the rear brake, how do you stop, which foot do you put down? How does that whole sequence work? What are you doing there? And then, of course, if you're on a hill and you need to have the brake on to hold the bike from rolling, or I guess you could be on the clutch just, in that friction zone, keeping the bike from rolling back. That's another option. But I don't know that it's the best option. So for me, I thought, no, there's got to be a better way here. And I'm going to try some stuff. And what I thought of, I went back to, well, not back, because I don't want it to sound like I'm done drag racing. I don't ever want to tell myself that. But I went back to some of the cars I built and stuff. And of course, one of the things we always use in a drag car, not always, but we use a lot, is a line lock, or you know, in this case, a Hurst product called roll control. And what a line lock or a roll control does, and I'll just see if I can pull this out of the packaging for you here. Oh, come on, Bruce. It can't be that tough. Oh, I see. Okay. So what this thing does for you is, there. This is a solenoid that goes in line with the brake line, electronically activated, electric solenoid, pretty simple stuff. So this goes in the brake line, and on a drag car, what you would typically do is you would have this in the front brake line. So you pull into the water box to do a burnout, for example, you'd hit the brakes hard, or not hit, but you'd push the brakes firmly. You'd get a lot of brake pressure, a lot of hydraulic pressure to the front wheels, so those brakes are locked up. And at that point, you would trigger the switch to activate the solenoid and maintain brake pressure to the front. So the front wheels at that point should be holding steady. You hit the throttle, light up the back tires. Oh, take your foot off the brake, sorry. You're going to take your foot off the brake because the switch and this solenoid activated is going to hold those front brakes on. So you light up the back wheels, do your burnout. When you're ready to pull out of the burnout box, you simply let go of the switch. Most guys are going to put it on the shifter. That's a real common place for it. You're going to let go of the switch. That releases the hydraulic pressure on the front brakes. The front brakes come off, the car moves out of the water box. You would use the line lock, as the name implies. You would also use a line lock on the starting line to hold the car while you get one foot on the throttle, 1 foot on the clutch. We're not here to talk about drag racing that much though. So this thing, this roll control, I got thinking about it and I thought, well, if I plumb this in to the rear brake, so now when I'm going to stop the bike, I'm rolling to a stop. One thing I don't have to worry about with the bike is I'm not worried about locking up the back brake. I just want some pressure on the brake to keep the bike steady, to keep it from rolling, and maybe even that last little bit of bringing it to a stop. So with the right amount of pressure on the brake pedal and the right amount of hydraulic pressure going to the back brake, I can hit that switch, which I'm thinking I'm going to use a thumb switch on my right hand with the throttle. So I'm going to use a thumb switch, and when I activate that thumb switch, and I'll just show you here, the one that comes with the roll control, and that thing's got oil all over it. The one that comes with the roll control has an elastic on the back here. I don't want to take this all apart right now, but it's got an elastic on the back. As I say, typically it'll go over your shifter handle, and this is just a, you can probably hear that. This is just a, what do they call this? A temporary or intermittent switch. You press it and hold it. It's closed, activated while it's on, while you're holding it, and as soon as you release it, that breaks the circuit, and of course the solenoid comes off. So that's the switch that they give you with it. It's not a weatherproof switch. It's nothing that I would use on a motorcycle, I don't think. But that's what comes with it and gives you an idea of what you'd need. The other thing that comes with is an indicator light. So in this case, small red indicator light to tell you when the roll control is activated. I can see this being kind of handy. This one is fairly big. I'm not sure that there would be a place to mount this, but I'm thinking a small LED indicator light. I'm not sure what Moto Gadget has, but there should be some different stuff out there. So a small indicator light, again, a small, and I have seen Moto Gadget has them, several different companies have a push button switch like this in size, very similar to this. So you would have, you would be able to push this. These two things would look similar, if not almost exactly the same, and fairly small, so it should be easy to hide those in a housing, whatever. I'm thinking I can probably work with that. The other thing I'm thinking I would do with the brake side is that I would probably not use a switch that I have to hold, like this one. I don't think I want to have to hold this on or hold something on with my thumb. A couple different reasons for that. I may want to take my hand off to make some kind of adjustment, to do something. I may want to blip the throttle, whatever. There may be a reason that I don't want my hand there. The other thing for me is, a little bit older, and I do have essential tremors. Sometimes my thumb isn't super steady, so I don't want it coming on and off the switch. So if I use a toggle switch, now I can hit the switch, take my thumb off, take my hand away, do whatever I have to while I'm waiting for a red light or whatever. The brake is held on by the switch on the solenoid, and when I'm ready to go, all I have to do is toggle the switch, just hit it again, and that will release the brake. The other thing I got thinking is if a guy's going to use a Moto Gadget, this gets really sexy, because now you can use one of the auxiliary outputs of the Moto Gadget to drive the solenoid, which means on the input side, all you're going to use is a ground signal, so very low current, thin wires, really nice on that switch up on the handlebar, and that's just going to activate the Moto Gadget, which is going to activate the roll control. So that whole thing could be pretty nice and pretty slick, pretty, what's that word that I'm looking for? But very, very subtle, very, very nicely tucked away, real clean. A guy could do a nice job with that. So that's my plan, is to use a toggle switch. The other thing you could do too is you could get an inexpensive delay circuit of some kind. Might even be something that you can adjust the delay on. And let's say you find that your riding style, whatever, you tend to watch the light or whatever's going on. So put a 1 second delay in there. So when you hit the toggle, you know that you've got 1 second before the brake comes off. Call it, hill start assist kind of thing or whatever. So you've got that little bit of a delay, gives you a chance to bring the throttle, bring the revs up a little bit, do a couple things. So, you could make it as elaborate, as sophisticated as you want to, or just keep it very basic. Just a temporary switch, you hold the switch on, as soon as you release the switch, the brake comes off. So that's what I'm planning for the rear brake. That's really nice because, as I said, if I'm slowing down, I know I don't need that real hard brake pressure on the back. I don't need that wheel locked up. I just need some drag on it. So I'm coming to a stop, I hit the button. Now I'm still getting the drag of the brake as I'm putting my foot down. I think a guy would get used to that fairly quickly, and it would be pretty nice for stopping the bike. And now my left foot can be working the clutch, dealing with the clutch. I don't have to worry about it. So I thought that was good. I'm happy with that for the brake, but I thought, you know, there could be more. I could go a little bit further with this. So if I convert the Yamaha to a hydraulic clutch, which I've been looking at how I would do that, and I don't think it's going to be that tough. I think it should be fairly easy. You know, master cylinder, slave cylinder, some kind of a setup like that, an actuator, you know, a linkage to do essentially what the cable does. Shouldn't be all that tough to figure out. So now if I've got a hydraulic clutch, I can take this this technology, this idea over to the clutch side as well. My thought there is it's going to require two switches, one on the handlebar, and the one on the handlebar will basically activate the system. It'll make the system live, if you will. The other switch needs to be on the clutch. So you have a switch on the clutch and a switch up on the handlebar. My thought there is you would arm or activate the system with the switch on the handlebar. And again, my left hand is way worse than my right, so I wouldn't trust my thumb for any kind of hold situation. It would have to be a toggle switch. So toggle it, now it's on, it's activated. The second step of that is the switch on the clutch being activated, and that's when the roll control would turn on. So you need both switches on to turn the roll control on, and the roll control would be effectively holding the clutch. I always get confused. I meant to look this up before I did this. Engaged, disengaged, whatever, but hold the clutch on, if you will, in the activated position. So you push the clutch pedal down. If you use a toggle switch, it hits that switch, whether it's on the side, whether it's underneath that pedal, and you have to go all the way to the extreme travel. You hit that switch, and now the roll control is on, and even when you let the pedal up, the roll control is holding the clutch for you. So that's fine. Now your clutch, you're sitting there, you've got no drive, and all you have to do to get going is to release it. Now that's where it gets a little bit tricky, but I think I figured it out. So using an automotive style relay, and these are really common, they're inexpensive. Guys use these for lighting, all kinds of auxiliary circuits, turning on a cooling fan, as I say, driving lights, anything like that. There's all kinds of things you use 12-volt relay for. So the handlebar switch would activate this relay and pull it closed so that the input to the relay becomes the output. That output side goes to the switch on the clutch. So when the relay is energized, that closes the circuit to feed it to the switch under the clutch. Now, when you push that all the way down and toggle that switch, you've made the circuit, and you turn the roll control on, you trip the solenoid, and you're good. The clutch is being held, you're all set. The issue is releasing it, because what you don't want is hit the button on the handlebar and boom, it effectively dumps the clutch. The bike is not going to take off into traffic or anything like that unless you got the throttle way up. But if it's sitting there idling, you know what happens. You dump the clutch, the thing stalls. So that's not my big concern. My big concern is if I'm already on a hill, having issues, I'm in traffic, the motor's hot, whatever, now I stall the bike, now things get really uncomfortable. So to defeat that, and I'm going to try and show a schematic here. I'm going to try and do something that I can show you in the video here. But to defeat that, what we need to do is take the output of the switch under the clutch, which activates the roll control. We need to bring that back around and keep the relay energized. So we're going to feed that back into the input side of the coil inside the relay. Because you've got, in this case, let's say 12 volts coming in, but you're also feeding that around to the output now. So what you need to do is put in a diode. A diode is basically a one-way valve for an electronic circuit. You need to put a diode in the line, which only allows the 12 volts to come back into the relay, does not allow 12 volts to go out to the clutch, to the solenoid, the roll control. So as long as you put a diode in there, that should prevent any, should limit it to a one-way circuit, which is what we want to do. So if we're set up that way, we hit the switch on the handlebar, that turns off our feed to this relay, except for what's coming back from the clutch pedal. Now, when you put the clutch all the way down and trip that toggle switch, that releases the roll control and it de-energizes the relay. It takes the feed away from the relay. So now this is not holding the clutch on. It's not holding the solenoid on. Solenoid releases, everything is good. You need weatherproof switches. I'm thinking these are going to be a few bucks. But overall, I think the concept is really, really good. And the idea should work if I can get the right components. Then I'm in good shape. I can leave the bike in gear, usually first. I can leave the bike in gear. I can put the clutch down, take my foot off the clutch. The bike is sitting there. The brake is held. I can have both feet on the ground. I can have one foot or the other on the ground. And when it's time to go, it's just a simple matter of getting on the clutch with the left foot, tripping the switch, and away we go. So that's what I'm working on. And again, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. If you have any comments, if you've done this, if you know what kind of circuit I need, if you use switches like what I'm talking about, and you say, hey, I know exactly what you need, Bruce, leave me a comment, send me a note. I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to Speed and Color and turn on those notifications so that you don't miss any of this BS.
You'll find build stuff on the Speed and Color YouTube channel. BS episodes aren't scheduled, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any BS.